FFP, what is that? Financial fair play. Does it really apply equal to every single club in the Premier League? We're talking about the scandalous that Everton, the small club, got charged by the Premier League with a 12 points deduction. Well, Manchester City, who everyone knows has been cooking the books with 115 allegations, still getting away with murder, and nothing has been resolved. We're going to dissect everything in this short video, so stick around. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video and hit that notification button so you never miss a video like this. Welcome to MUFC Realist TV.
Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Right, well, feel welcome. Dit is mijn home and I want to achieve success. Okay?
Welcome back on this day of recording on the 16th of November 2023. Manchester City has acknowledged to the Premier League charges facing them risking have a material impact on the club. They posted a large record revenue of over £700 million. It is kind of strange, isn't it? While Everton has been charged for breaching the FFP with 12 points deduction. City earned around 712.8 million in the year ending in June 30th, and an increase of almost 100 million compared to the previous years, of outstripping the 648.4 million in the Premier League record set up by Manchester United. We were the record holders, Manchester United, and still FFP are looking on us, but not on City. What does that mean? Does that mean that the bigger club can get away with it because they have deeper pocket? Does corruption exist? We're going to talk about everything because City runs to the Champions League is kind of broke down where they beat Inter Milan with 1-0 in June, contributed to total broadcast revenue by 299.4 million, a whooping, including 130 million just from UEFA alone. However, the club's annual report mentioned that 115 charges issued against them in the Premier League in February under the Risk and Uncertainties section. Risk and Uncertainties sections. You know, they've been challenging it. We know that City is not as huge club as Manchester United, Arsenal, and Liverpool in terms of the fan base. There has been speculations that they have been overinflated the books, and how come still they ended up on a profit high on £700 million. Wow. The board of City acknowledged that there is a number of risks at the moment and uncertainties which could have a material impact on the club's performance, the report stated, as well as Premier League charges performance of the first team and any future regulation changes introduced by the Premier League recently. The Football Association, UEFA and FIFA were also cited as risk and uncertainties facing the club. Right? This is a shambles. This is what we need to ask the hard questions. A small club like Everton, which doesn't have that financial power or economical power or political power with UEFA, FIFA, gets charged with 12 points deduction, and City, that's been well known, documented for years, cooking the books, are still waiting the verdict. And now when they publish the financial statement with £700 million in profits, certainly this has to be asked. Join me today. Actually, we did a fantastic podcast yesterday, so this segment is my panel, including Andy Tate, Jarvis Cocker, Paul White, and Tom Journalist. Let's hear what the boys had to say yesterday, and I want to hear your opinions as well, so please leave your comments below. Do you think it's fair? Do you think that City should be relegated, points deducted? If Everton got 12 matches, 12 points deducted, what do you think City should get? I want to hear from you. Let's do this. Let's get ready to rumble.
Now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world
on MUFC Realist TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
now we will talk about the Everton. Everton is facing a 12-point deduction for the FFP breach. Are smaller clubs reviewing harsher penalties compared to big clubs like City and Chelsea? Who want to go first?
Andy, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go because I think it's scandalous. I mean, you look at it, if you like say, look at Sheffield Wednesday, they had the 12-point penalty. I think Derby County had one.
Yeah.
Most famously,
went into administration.
Yeah. Luton Town, Leeds United, and it crippled. It basically took them to the conference, and they played conference football. And like I say, 10 years later, here are Luton now. So if you punish one, you must punish others, no matter how technicality your lawyers are. You can keep jumping through hoops like little sheep, but eventually that gate's gonna close, and you're gonna get caught, and you're gonna be in with the big wolves. So I'm telling you what, the wolves are coming. So any club, it would be Everton, Man City, or the tram 115 or 116 or the bus will turn up at the Etihad. Don't know when. It could be a year from now, 2, 3, 4 years from now. But you got to be punished if you fried the books. Like you say, is this legal? Absolutely not. If you fried it, you will get cooked. And that's all I'm going to say on it. If this was Man United, there'd be a national scandal. It'll be lobbied most punished Manchester United.
Yeah.
This was the Glazers, and we will be thrown to the wolves. And we will absolutely look. If you can do it to Glasgow Rangers and drop 4 divisions, you're gonna have to do it to somebody else as well.
Mm-hmm. Very well said, Andy. I saw a comment here about Chelsea. They are not. This is from Evil Bossage. He said that Chelsea haven't breached the FFP proof piece. I just read today an article in the Guardian that actually brought up that Roman Abramovich funded their success, and he was breaching the FFP. So
do you want an example of it, Jarvis? Do you want one example of how
please.
Chelsea? Yeah, okay. There was a leaked email that exchanged that went from Roman Abramovich to Eden Hazard's football agent when he was a player at Lille, and he sent him across €7 million. And there was no quotation to it. But you send €7 million to a football agent about his client, one of his clients, who's not currently your player. I think everybody gets the gist of why that's happening. And Eden Hazard, as a young, I think it was 20 or 21 years old, as a young player at that time, had at least 6, 7 high-profile European football clubs that were looking at him. And it just took Roman Abramovich to pay €7 million to a club owner, to a player's agent, and then it just so happens that player then suddenly goes to that club. There's no two ways about it. Why is this, if you like, a national, like Andy was saying there, national outcry? Chelsea have won 2 Champions Leagues under that tenure with Roman Abramovich. They've won about 5 or 6 Premier League titles.
Europa League, FA Cup, they've won everything.
They've won a lot. They've won a lot, but historical clubs that have built from scratch, like Arsenal, haven't won the lot. But really, many people say that they should have done by now. But Arsenal have never been done for breaching FFP regulations or rules. But in the same case, like I'm saying with Chelsea, the problem with Chelsea has always been the way that Roman Abramovich bought their football club at the time was controversial because he was the first, if you like, nation-state linked member to buy a football club. A Russian oligarch who's one of Putin's inner circle buys a Premier League football club. There's nothing dodgy about that at all. Really?
Yeah.
The gas, if we want me to be honest about it, I think Roman Abramovich at the time, Gazprom, which is a Russian gas and oil company, for people that don't know, he owned 32% of the shares in that company at the time, and it forklifted over 3 years, which brought him a net worth, I think it was over £5 billion at that time. I mean, his net worth almost doubled in, I think it was the space of 18 months after he bought Chelsea Football Club, because of all the commercial deals and the brand deals that he was getting with all the Russian companies, which was then at the time funding and sponsored Chelsea Football Club. So it's almost as if you pay Peter to pay Paul. You give Roman the money, and then suddenly he can do whatever the hell he wants with it, even though it's not his own money; it's the Russian government's money. But the problem, like I say, with it's not even just with Chelsea in this case. Manchester City, let's be honest, their whole tenure, if we're being honest, they've been successful for roughly about 10 years nearly.
Yep.
I think that's reasonable to say. They are being investigated for 13 years worth of their finances. 13 years. Now, let me ask you and Andy a question, Jarvis. Do you have an email from 13 years ago to prove what you bought? No, you don't, do you?
Hell of an inbox if you've got one.
There you go.
Hell of an inbox.
But Manchester City claim in the modern day era that they make more money than PSG, who have a sponsorship deal with Jordan, Manchester United, who have a multi-billion-pound sponsorship deal with Adidas, Arsenal, who have major sponsorship with Emirates, and also they make more money on top of that than both of the Spanish giants in Barcelona and Real Madrid. Really? It doesn't make sense at all in whatever case you want to say it with. And if you want to put it as Andy was saying before, they've punished so many football clubs. Derby County went into administration and they punished them because they couldn't pay the players. But it's not Derby County's fault that their owner abandoned them because he couldn't afford to keep up with the payments of the football club. How is that in any right fair to that football club? And it demoted and it crushed Derby County. Bury's gone out of bloody business, for Christ's sake. But there's this scandal going on with Manchester City. And the funny thing that everybody keeps alluding to, and I said this even when the reports came out about Manchester City, that they're being investigated for financial irregularities. A massive scandal like this, where they have to date back 13 years of all the finances of those football clubs, and the Premier League want proof of how they've actually obtained these financial figures and how they make sense. When you want to go that far back, it's not going to take 18 months or 10 months to come to a decision. You're talking years, guys. You might not hear about any punishment for Manchester City for 3-4 years. That's how deep those allegations go. And as you were saying, Andy, rightfully, if it goes on for this long as an investigation and they get found out, which, if we're being honest with you, with the way that it's being reported and all these leaked emails and everything's coming out, they're guilty as sin, let's be honest. And they're not exactly making themselves look any better when you try and make that you've got record revenues in world football. In no sense at all. But the Everton one, I am more incensed by, based upon that they cheated the finances to stay in the Premier League. And if I'm being honest, I think legally speaking, Leeds, Leicester, and Southampton could sue Everton if they get found guilty for loss of trading because they've lost money because they got relegated from the Premier League. But Everton breached the rules to stay in the league.
This as well, because I remember, was it a couple of years ago, Sheffield United had a case over, like, say, I know it was Tevez and all that, but was it? Well, it was Derby, wasn't it? Because Sheffield Wednesday stayed up. Derby, Wickham, and all challenged them. They were, and was it say, they were challenging what?
They went to Court of Arbitration for Sport. They didn't take the case forward because the Premier League couldn't prove it. That was the problem. Why? But like you're saying there, Andy, even with Manchester City, UEFA had Manchester City banged to rights. And when I mean banged to rights, guys, Manchester City they had all the top lawyers within the world who still couldn't fight Manchester City's case. But do you know how they got out of the UEFA case? And people can portray it, and City fans can portray it however they want. They got out of that case with UEFA on a time bar. And for people that don't know what a time bar is, under the Court of Arbitration for Sport, you have 2 years to prove a football or a sporting case. So it was football in this case with Manchester City. UEFA gathered all the evidence up, but because COVID hit, when they was making the allegations against Manchester City, COVID hits the whole arbitration, and suddenly you're laid off for 3 months where you can't investigate. And in those 3 months, Manchester City's appeal case was up. So what happens in that case then? It gets overturned and then it gets thrown out of court. So Manchester City, as Andy's favourite word, got out on a technicality. Not proven, a technicality. And from then, they've been investigated by UEFA. They're being investigated now by the Premier League. Jesus Christ, they might even get investigated by Sherlock Holmes for all we know.
Yeah,
They've got more. There's more holes in their finances than a sieve.
Yeah. So do you think? I see a lot of comments in the chat say that the FA won't do anything against City.
Oh, come on, guys! A 4-year investigation, and they're not going to try and make them look guilty as sin. Please.
Yeah, I see Paul Greaves coming there and say there's no way.
It would shake up English football, or wouldn't it?
I'll ask you guys a question. Would you investigate something for 4 years just to say that I'm not going to do anything?
Well, it depends how much money you give me.
You are, Jarvis. You're as bent as the lot of them.
Anybody can be bought, my friends.
Yeah. That's just the world, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
well, anyway,
if it does come, what you call it, you can hit them with all sorts of fucking fines, points, deductions. Do you strip titles from him?
They probably wouldn't, no.
No, there you go. Then it's like
because if they strip the titles of them, every club that finished second in those leagues can sue them. Then,
yeah, you open up a can of words. We're all 2 titles. Liverpool, fucking hell. Let's just leave it at that. They'll be having 3. Fucking, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I see Neil Driscoll coming in and said my local club was saved by fans and fans owner club, and the now club name is Exeter City. So there's a lot of clubs who have been struggling with financials, and the fines are coming from the FA, but nothing happens to City yet. But let's hope. Let's hope they will.
Yeah. Jarvis and Andy. Anyway, I've got to head off, guys. But anyway, it's been a pleasure as always.
Yep.
And anybody in the chat or anybody who's watching, make sure you like, share, subscribe, people. Costs absolutely nothing. And as Paul said before he left, if you don't, you already know what Andy's going to say. What's the excuse, guys? Is it technicality? Can't you click a button? Come on, people.
Is it because you're on a technicality? You're so lazy.
There we go.
You can't use one finger to press something and click.
Costs nothing, people. That's the biggest.
You are nothing, people. You are fools, and you are a waste of time. You waste of time. Good night.
Anyway, but big up everybody as always, and Jarvis, Andy, I'll catch you.
Big up, Tom. Big up.
Wow, this comes to the end of the show. This was cut from yesterday's mega podcast on MUFC Realist TV with Andy Tate, Jarvis Cocker, Tom Journalist, and Paul White. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinions, your comment. Do you think that City should be charged on the 115, and what will be the outcome? Do you think it's unfair that the smaller clubs are getting penalized while the bigger clubs are actually getting away with murder? 100%. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to MUFC Realist TV. Join, become a member. It is absolutely free. Big up for all of you, and we should see you to the next video.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.